before we get started on this list, let me just say that like I am a hunter main, and I'm a Hydra ranked hunter main, so a lot of my perspective is going to be on like how annoying are these ones to deal with. It's going to be how good the survivors are when a hunter's looking at them. So I think that like hunters are more qualified to judge survivors as opposed to hunters judging other hunters. So this one's probably going to be a little bit more accurate on my part. Yoon, hi, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so like it's going to be survivor rankings from a hunter's perspective. That being said, like I also have been like I think I was Alec. No, I got to Griffin 1 like 2 seasons ago, and I haven't been able to play a lot of survivor rank recently. I don't have a static to go with. Maybe I'll find someone to play with. If you want to apply, let me know. Send me a message. Okay. That also I forgot to mention. What's his name? Hermit is coming out soon, and he's not going to be included on the hunter list. So sorry about that. Okay, acrobat. I'm almost like tempted to give him an S tier. He's just so strong. He's such a strong kiter. He gets bombs as he does literally anything. And he also like Clerk can't record him. You can't like block out windows from him. Well, I guess you can if you block out the entire window with confined spaces. But he's really good at not doing what the hunter wants. He's really good at avoiding the hunter. The balls can provide a lot of support too. I've seen crazy acrobat support plays. He's truly terrifying. You don't really want to be the first chase against him unless you have... I think you need specific hunters to be able to chase these kinds of survivors. The ones that are just like god tier at kiting. Antiquarian, she's S tier. I haven't seen her yet, but she looks OP as hell. Like, I cannot do... I've seen her just like lock down hunters and take a full psychologist heal while they're disarmed, and I'm like, how is this fair? There's no way. I've seen a lot of tricks being done with her, and plus she's got like literally every trick in the book. Like the one of her stabs is what, 13% of her thing? That's nothing. She can stab you 6 times and disable you the entire time. What the heck? Like it does have a cooldown on it, but honestly, like a good Antiquarian, I feel like can keep you locked down for way too long. And it's not even that, like she just needs to assist. She's not necessarily even kiting you herself the whole time. Yeah, I feel nerfs incoming for her. This video is being recorded like right after her release, so there might be a nerf for her in the future. I'm kind of guessing that there is going to be one. But yeah, this is where I would put her for now, just based on what I saw from her kit. I haven't seen her in ranked, but I've seen her a couple times in quick matches, and she's like pretty hard to deal with if you know what you're doing. Barmaid, that's all I'll say for Antiquarian though, because I just don't have enough experience with her. Barmaid's gonna be A tier. She just got buffed recently. She's very strong. Like the Dovlins, oof, they're cracked. They're a little too strong for me. So the Dovlin heals you up if you let it go like proc all the way, and with the recent buff to it, it procs way more often than you're able to now. Plus she can just like she can take the little quarter chug to give herself a quarter point of damage and just zoom herself away to avoid a second hit while she's healing up the first hit. If you're just decent at kiting, like I feel like Barmaid is incredibly powerful. She's really strong for an assist too. She's basically like Psychologist but better in a lot of ways, because like, well, yes, Psychologist has the Wi-Fi healing, but if you just meet up with a Barmaid, you can just take the Dublin and head over for the rescue. If you're a mercenary or something and try to get that second rescue in. Yeah, like if you go on a Barmaid, you're kind of forced to commit to a lot of characters, even if you don't want to, because if you don't, she's just going to Dublin onto them. Very, very annoying to deal with. You can mess up with her a little bit, which is why she's only an A tier, because I've seen like I've landed a basic hit on her as Bonbon, and then she drinks the Dublin to give herself a quarter point damage, and then she just walks into a bomb and downs herself on accident. So there are issues with her, but I feel like the pros outweigh the cons by a lot. Batter S tier, the most annoying character in the game. I ban this character all the time. He's got 3 balls, and you gotta take the time to crush him. Like, if I'm dealing with a batter, which I haven't in a long time because I just keep him on permaban, he is going to harass you so hard. You just need to get rid of this dude. If you're a hunter and you're not like wax artist or something, ban this dude. He is a little too strong. He got nerfed? Did he? Wait, did Batter get nerfed recently? I don't think so. I've had him banned for so long, I just don't remember. But yeah, he's by far one of the most annoying characters in the game. The 3 cricket balls, they like even 2 would still make him very strong. He's got fast vaulting speed. The only bad thing is like what, slower decoding? Like, it's not a big deal. The trade-off is huge when he's harassing you 90% of the time anyways. He can extend kites so long, you just kind of have to deal with him first. Weh. Thank you for the weh. Yeah, I'm probably going to go through this a little bit faster because I don't have as, like, Survivor's abilities aren't as complicated as the Hunter abilities, because they don't have, like, presence and stuff. They just have their base kit, you know? Weeping Clown, C tier. He's pretty bad. Like, the rocket is okay. He's got 3 of them, but, like, I've never been stunned by a Weeping Clown rocket. It's got such a huge delay on it. So it's not really good for like getting hunters to drop the survivor unless you're like literally on top of them, they're not paying attention. It's okay for getting away like after you get a rescue on, but like a lot of hunters have catch-up mechanics and doesn't really buy you too much extra time, and you can get knocked off of it pretty easily. You only get 1 speed boost from it, and some hunters can just like, if you're breaking wheel, you're just gonna get run over. If you're Geisha, she's just gonna blink in front of you. Like, there's a lot of hunters that can just deal with the Weeping Clown pretty easily, and I don't really see him as a good container either. Like, he doesn't have a lot of, like, the other harassers just do it better. It's kind of hard to put him into a role. I've never had that much trouble hunting a Weeping Clown. Yeah. Coordinator, like B+, A-. The gun, I would probably say A- more than a B+. The gun, it lasts forever. If you're getting shot with the gun and you don't have excitement, that's a free rescue right there. Not a lot you can do against a coordinator gun. You can also use it when you're kiting. She's got very fast vaulting and pallet dropping speed. Yeah, like, coordinator is just, she's decently strong, but she's not like overpowered. I feel like she's in a decent place. Yeah, not much else to say about that. Cowboy is super annoying. Honestly, like, I used to ban Cowboy all the time, but he is a little bit easier to deal with the batter. Although Cowboy can lasso over you, it's not like you're getting hit by the batter ball every single time when you try to walk up to him. But he's got limited uses on that lasso. Yeah, it's a lot of uses, but there's a lot of dumb tricks you can do with it that make him a little bit stronger than usual. Like, I'd place him above coordinator. Mostly like the roping rescues. If you're a hunter that's trying to like pressure other ciphers and you're not like actively paying attention, you can get a survivor stolen from right from under you. It's really problematic. Like, Cowboy is really hard to deal with for a lot of hunters. He can use the lasso like literally every which way. He can use it to get himself closer to a pallet, extend the kite. He can literally jump over and give himself an iframe. I've had Cowboy avoid Naiad water damage by looping over me. It apparently gives you a full iframe. It's like flywheel. He can have 2 flywheels. How is that fair? I just think Cowboys are really annoying to deal with. When I hear that sound, they're I'm like, okay, where's this dude and how do I get rid of him? He's, yeah, I don't like dealing with Cowboy. Dancer, A tier. I hate dealing with Dancer too. If she stacks those music boxes, you better crush them or you're not catching her. She's just gonna stand inside her 2 slow fields and stay there for days. Or, like, here's the thing. Survivors need to kite for at least 60 seconds before, Survivors need to kite at least 60 seconds for the Cypher Rush to work out. Anywhere between like 40 and 60 seconds is probably okay, depending on your team comp. But here's the thing with Dancer, like her music boxes make her really hard to catch unless you're mind gaming her. And if you just put down 3 slow boxes right there, and she uses all of her abilities and the hunter has to crush all of them, you've already bought yourself about 20 seconds worth of time for him to have to crush everything. And it's so annoying because I'm like, I could chase you. Like, even if you land 1 hit on her, the recoil time is like 10 seconds now. And that time adds up exponentially as you start to like try and put pressure on other ciphers. Dancer is a huge hassle. Like she's just a bother. She's not incredibly strong at supporting. She's pretty good decoder if you have all 3 of her music boxes going, but the boxes themselves are so annoying. If anything, she's A-, like for sure. The boxes, the fact that she gets 3 of them is the most annoying part, and they all stack their abilities on top of each other. Doctor, probably B tier. Like, I probably am being a little generous with these Survivor ones, but yeah, Survivor Doctor can be really annoying. She's really, if you're like really good at kiting, her vaulting speed and her pallet dropping speed are kind of bad, but her ability is pretty decent. It's a pretty good counter for a lot of hunters, like Dream Witch. She actually can counter pretty hard if she just forces the hit from the leech. She's also really good at like tight kiting, and like she can heal up like quarter chip damage, and then you have to hit her a 3rd time. But there's a lot of issues with Doctor. If you have slow vaulting speed and slow pallet dropping speed, and you don't have anything to like extend your kite except to take an extra hit, I don't think that's like going to get you to A or S tier. A lot of hunters that like feed off presence early, yeah, I'll take the extra hit. Why not? Like, a lot of hunters want that extra presence. So, I don't think Doctor is like. I think rather than just like extending your kite by taking hits compared to extending your kite by harassing and not taking hits, there's a big difference there. Embalmer, B tier? I'd say he's better than Doctor. Like B plus, I would say. He's kind of I think there's a lot of neat tricks you can do with him, but his tricks are pretty niche. He's really good at getting ties, I believe. Especially with the coffins. If you camp him out early, it's hard to say. Like, Embalmer's one of those really tricky survivors. I feel like if Embalmer's my first chase, okay, sure. But you really got to get the rescue on him. You're kind of like forced to rescue an Embalmer if he's not embalming himself after the first chase. And if he does embalm himself after the first chase, then his ability is pretty much useless. Like, I think Embalmer is decent, but he's not like super crazy or anything. Late game is when you have to worry about him, and yeah, when most of the game is based on the early game, like your first 60 seconds, then I don't know about Embalmer. He doesn't really have a lot to slow down the hunter. Enchantress, probably A tier. The A tiers, there's gonna be a lot of A tier survivors out here. The curse, everybody knows it. It's annoying as heck. No one likes to deal with it. The 3 stack just stuns you for days. Other than that, like, she's a pretty hard counter to a lot of hunters who can do chip damage. Like, she doesn't usually take the tide to rescue if she doesn't need it, if she can just stun you off the chair or take a basic hit or something. The blessing and the curse stuff is really good for certain combinations. Like, if a psychologist heals her, she gets a, I don't think the Dublin counts, but like the Wi-Fi healing or getting healed by like a priestess with Doctor, she's just going to get a lot of stacks even faster. There's a lot of hunters out there who, like, the stun itself is a big deal. It can cancel your teleport, it can cancel your auto attack, it can cancel a lot of your abilities. If you're a bonbon and you get stunned while you're trying to throw out a bomb, it actually eats the entire bomb. It eats the charge, which is really stupid. But, you know, that's the case. If you're a breaking wheel and you're trying to get that that full presence spike out, she can stun you, and that last spike is not going to come out. So I'm going to put her in the A tier. Like, she's not like pretty high up here A tier. I only don't say she's S tier because I don't like, there's a couple of ways you can deal with her. If you just excitement her, or if you mind game her, or if you just down her in a range with abilities, she can't do as much. But like, she's still up there, you know, she's still annoying. Late game moment can be super powerful. You can turn time to win. Yeah, he's really strong late game, but like, if you're at late game and you're not already winning, then what do you need a Mauler for? Hi, Mr. Big Chubby. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Like, as opposed to these three where they can just kite you the whole game. Yeah, these, you'll go down eventually. Melly S tier. Melly is a pretty hard counter to a lot of people. Like, it can, her bees, they block the Ripper's Windblade, they block the Axe Boy's thing. They can stop the clown from charging at you. They can stop a lot of stuff. The bees, it gives you a huge speed boost, and you can push hunters around with it. I've seen this happen only one time before, but if you take Tide and you last effort yourself on the bees, you can actually guarantee a rescue by like getting yourself on the bees and then just pushing a hunter into the corner, and you stand inside your bees so they can't move out of it, and then you just stand in front of him. Like, you corner him with your bees, and the attack never goes to the bees if it hits your character first. So you've got him perma-trapped. They're really useful for everything. You can rescue from the basement from them. They're really big assist tools, and you can use them from like across the map. There's a lot of bees, and they're generally just like really good for kiting. Not to mention, like, her other ability, like, it gives honey to people to vault over areas faster. You can vault over pallets and windows really quickly. She's a pretty good support unit overall, like 10 out of 10. There's not really any downsides to her. You can see her a little bit after she leaves an area, but like, that's hardly a debuff. If you're being chased, they're gonna know anyways. So, and not to mention, her bees also hide her, like, her blood trail thing, and it's really good at juking hunters. Like, she's just really strong. Melly Bug Queen, hi. Yeah, Melly, she's S tier for sure, no doubt in my mind. What the Kurd doing? B. I think decoders aren't that great. Like, Kurt is kind of a weird exception. No, I wouldn't say he's an exception. Like, his treasure finding ability is really strong, but he has no way to kite, which is really bad for decoders especially. If he gets down, he's pretty much doomed unless he has a page. And even if he has a page, like, the most you can do is like, here's my last gift to you as I die. It's not really helpful. And he gets exposed if he picks up the page. I've seen a lot of Kurts, like, what you're supposed to do is like get a cipher to 50%, prime the page, and then just tap the page and pick it up and finish the cipher afterwards. The timing is like hardly faster than just a regular survivor doing the full-on cipher, like, or another survivor doing it. Yeah, I don't think that being, he's good at hiding, I guess. So he can annoy a hunter at the start if you can't find him. A lot of hunters will give up, but you're taking a really big risk there. If they find you, or if they like peeper or something, or if they just like randomly hit you on accident, you're kind of doomed. So Kurt, I don't know, he's not that great. First officer, A tier. The pocket watch, he's got like what, two or three of them. There's not even a downside to using him. I think after you use a pocket watch, he gets decoding speed increased, and if he's using it, you're not catching him with your kite. Like, while he's kiting, it's very, very hard to predict it. You can predict it to a certain extent, and some hunters can deal with it, like the Cypher, but most hunters are going to have huge problems. Like, if they use their pocket watch, I'm like, all right, I'm finding someone else. You can use up the rest of that pocket watch. It lasts like 15 seconds, and he can like keep procking and procking and procking to hit, do the hypnosis. It's very annoying as an ability. It doesn't affect anyone else, but it can really help with a rescue, or at least buy you enough time to rescue right before half. And even if you hit him, he gives himself Tide Turner while he's in that invisible pocket watch ability. So first officer, A tier. Yeah, for sure. Forward, S tier. He's just annoying. Like, everybody knows about Forward. He's just gonna constantly bully you until you down him first or get rid of him, or you switch to excitement or something. But if you're playing against a forward, you're gonna have to like predict his charge at you, or if he's hiding around a corner, you're just looking around every which way. But a good forward will just wait for you to pick up the survivor and try to attack you in between. Yeah, he's really, really annoying to deal with. Plus, if he just uses a football to stun you on chair, that's like a 7-second stun. Like, even if you eat half a football, that's like 5 seconds. It's almost a free rescue. You almost don't need time with this character because like the stun just lasts so long for him to get the rescue off. He's got like actually the fastest pallet dropping speed in the game, the fastest vaulting speed in the game. He's amazing at kiting, and he can use his football in like little small bursts to get to pallets and stuff, which is really annoying. So yeah, forward, like I put him up here. I don't think he's as annoying as batter, because batter is literally infinite if he can keep picking up his balls. But and he can keep picking up his balls even if he just runs forward to pick it up. He risks getting hit, but he'll just hit you and smack you again with a second cricket ball. But forward, he'll run out of his football eventually. And after he's out, like he's just a really good kiter at that. Let's see, Gardner, like B plus, maybe B. You know, her shield, you know what, we'll put her in C tier, like B minus, C tier. Her shield is like a little bit more usable now, but her gardening box, like I've seen very few gardeners actually utilize that successfully, and it's not a kiting tool. Like, her kiting tool is her shield, but even if you pop her shield, it gives the hunter a little bit of presence. Chip damage does break the shield, and she's got to hold still for 5 seconds. They bait themselves into taking hits sometimes, trying to get that shield off. And I just think that like there's a lot of better options when it comes to rescuing survivors out there. Yeah, you really need like a kiting tool to be able to deal with some of the hunters out there. But for her toolbox, it doesn't really do a lot but break the chairs. It's okay for harassers. Like, she's like part harasser too by just breaking the chairs. But if like any half decent hunter will probably notice that beforehand and try to repair the chair, or just go for gardener first, so she becomes too annoying. She can't ever make you like drop the survivor that you're carrying unless she breaks the chair like right in front of you, in which case she better have a shield or she's going to eat a hit. Gravekeeper, ever since his change, I think he's going to be A tier. Like, he's got what, 3 shovels now? He's really good at rescuing from the basement because he can just boop all the way down. Accidentally hit my mic there, sorry about that. But yeah, Gravekeeper, I feel like is really strong. Sometimes when he's kiting you and he's in his shovel form, you can't see where his main body is if he just like does the forward and back thing a little bit, because you can only see like the gravel, or if it's like one of the skin effects, sometimes it's lava with the new S tier accessory that he's getting. I can't even tell where he is half the times, and most of the time they just like throw a pallet and hide under it, so you're forced to break the pallet anyways, and then when you start breaking the pallet, they just leave. Like, they're pretty fast in that form, and if you're trying, like, they're pretty good at rescuing too, because they'll just pop out of it, and when they pop out they get like super quick rescuing speed. I would say he's one of the better rescuers out there if they know how to use their shovels correctly. And he's pretty good at kiting. Yes, it does give the hunter's presence, which is why I put him in A tier, not S tier, but he can kite for quite a long time. Yeah, if anything, like A minus. Lawyer, like D tier. I don't think Lawyer is a good character at all. The map is okay, but any hunter that knows their spawn points is going to kind of snuff you out in the first place. He's not really good at hiding. He's not good at kiting. He's not really good at decoding until that first cipher is done. Then he's a really good decoder. But if he's a lot of the times I'll just hunt down the lawyer first before he's able to do anything. And since he doesn't pop that first cipher, he's just going to go down. You have to run a lot of interference for this guy for him to be able to do his full ability. I just don't think the map is very good for anything. Like ciphers, you know where those are just from like giving it a few seconds from the game to start. And the, what's it called? Like knowing where the hunter is okay, but like Mind's Eye or Seer kind of does it a little bit better, and it tells the entire team instead of just for yourself. Not being terror shocked is fine and all, but like most survivors shouldn't be getting terror shocked anyways. A lot of survivors will just eat a regular basic hit before they start vaulting the window, and yeah, there's nothing you can do about that in a lot of situations. So lawyer D tier. Little girl S tier. Okay, little girl, I've woken up to the OP-ness of little girl. She is a nightmare to deal with. Yes, you can mess up with her very hard. You can put the page down and guarantee a double hit, but like high tier little girls never do that. And especially if they're like the first kite. When I've had little girls, like they take the first kite, they'll take a hit, even if it's pretty early on, they'll just run to a next person and then hop onto them. And then you're forced to chase two people at this, the person plus the little girl at the same time. And if they hop onto like an acrobat or like a forward or a coordinator, or like they can hop onto another kiter and they'll do the kiting for you. It's so stupid. Like, and she's already wasted like 30 seconds of your time eating that first hit and trying to, like, you can just literally run forward in a straight line and you won't be able to catch her at that extent. But unless you get the hit reset on her, which is really difficult to do for a little girl without paying attention, then it's not going to matter. So she's also really good late game. She can teleport across the map. Like, that for me is an incredibly strong ability already. Yes, it makes her vulnerable for a little bit, but most hunters aren't going to catch up if they know where they're teleporting at. Like, little girl is hidden OP. I feel like she's just incredibly strong, and a lot of people haven't woken up to it yet. Lucky, like maybe she like S minus if anything. She's not like the most OP, but she's definitely like hidden strong. Lucky guy. You know, I've seen him being used in COD. Like, there's a lucky guy meta kind of going on, but I think in solo queue he's kind of pretty meh. Like, he's not the worst. He's not like completely useless. He's got decent vaulting speed, decent pallet dropping speed, decent everything. Jack of all trades. Like, what can I give him except for B tier? Plus, he can hold on to 2 items. If he gets unlucky and doesn't get his first item, like, he almost always wishes for a gun probably, and like a perfume. So he makes for a pretty decent rescuer. If he was just like really good at anything in particular, I'd probably rate him a little bit higher. But he's got his niche situations. Magician with his 3 wands. Oh my gosh, he's so annoying to catch. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, like, Magician got a buff recently. He's got 3 wands now instead of the 2. Can't get terror shocked while he's in the wand, but it does give him a small burst of movement speed to avoid a hit. It's almost like blocking a hit. If you're a good magician, I've seen them run like, if you run between the pallet spacings, they can leave their clone there and block off that entrance so that hunters can't get in between it. It's really, really, it's difficult to deal with in a lot of ways. Plus, going invisible, it lets you juke really hard. If you're good at juking and you're good at like mind gaming, Magician is really, really strong. He's not, if you hit the clones, it doesn't give the hunter any presence at all. It's pretty relatively safe. He's got decent like pallet dropping speed, decent running, a vaulting speed. He's pretty good like as a kiter. Mechanic. I'm thinking S tier. Like, if S or A plus, I'm probably like S minus. You know what? Acrobat, like, move down here. Now that I'm like getting more survivors on the chart, it's a little bit easier for me to sort them out. But yeah, Mechanic is so terrible to deal with. She can decode 2 ciphers at the same time. Plus, if you find her first and you don't find her bot, she's decoding a free cipher while she's on the chair. Like, she just, yeah, you can catch her pretty easily because she's got the slow vaulting speed and the slow pallet dropping speed. But like this bot thing, being able to control it from the chair and being able to decode 2 ciphers at once, I think bot is actually like one of the strongest items in the game. You can use it as like perfume to block hits for you. Yes, it gives the hunter a little bit of presence, but it's still like, it saves you a lot of time from that kite. So, okay, Mercenary, clearly S tier. There's almost a merc in like every single game. There's like no situation. Anyways, Mercenary is like S tier, like hard stuck S tier, but that's where he needs to be. He's got 3 pads. Like, you can kite, you can rescue, you can do the whole thing. A lot of hunters won't chase Mercenary first because he's got 3 elbow pads to work with. Unless he's like really caught out, then some hunters might chase him first. But he's almost guaranteed to rescue of most survivors if you just go in. You can take a terror shock and you'll still be fine. You still get the rescue off because of the delayed damage. Plus the Mercenary pads, they can move you across the map relatively quick. I don't think there's any real contest about Mercenary being S tier. Mind's Eye, based on solo queue, B tier. I don't think Mind's Eye is very good. I know some people who play Mind's Eye a lot might disagree with me, but from a hunter's perspective and based on the hunters that I play, Mind's Eye is not a very good character for solo queue. The only thing she's got is her like cane tapping. It doesn't really slow the hunter down too much. It only lasts for like a few seconds, and like I'm pretty sure it's still faster than her in most cases, especially with their slow pallet vaulting speed. A lot of hunters will chase down her first because she's a really easy first kite, or first chase. She can't really decode if she's on the chair either, so she's like, as a decoder, she's pretty meh. Like 150%, she is the fastest decoder in the game without skill checks, but like, yeah, I feel like she needs a lot of support to keep her going. Otherwise, she's kind of doomed to most hunters. Novelist, probably B tier, but like upper B tier. He's actually pretty decent. I don't see a lot of Novelists being played. Like, he's got really bad counters. Like, he doesn't work on Naiad at all. He can just sit on the... the Naiad will just put him in the water puddle. It doesn't work on anything that drops. Any hunter that drops abilities that do damage on delay is going to kind of wreck this guy. But he can switch places with survivors to make them a little bit quicker, and that makes them a lot harder to kite. Like, the base hunter movement speed compared to base survivor movement speed, it's just slightly quicker. But with the Novelist giving them that like extra small burst, they're a lot harder to catch. The body swapping ability is okay, but if you don't know what you're doing with it, or if you do it in the wrong area, I feel like it's really bad. Novelist, the only reason why he isn't lower on this list is because he's not meant to kite alone. He's one of the survivors that's meant to bully the hunter. You're supposed to play Novelist in conjunction with like a batter or something. You're supposed to harass the hunter, just like a batter's supposed to. And like, you just look at him, you switch places with him, you walk her underneath the pallet, and you let your partner stun him. Like, having to deal with a Novelist while he's like with 2 other people or something is the most annoying thing ever. I've seen a couple of comps where they just run like 1 prisoner and then like 3 harassers, like a cowboy, an enchantress, and a novelist, and the novelist, just by being there, is a huge pain in the butt. Like, the swapping ability, it takes a long time to start up, but once he gets it going, like, it's going. If you don't have a way to deal with that, then it's just going to be a pain in the butt to try and get to him. He's not like an amazing kiter on his own, but he's never meant to be played that way. Let's see. Painter, C tier. I think Edgar is decent in some cases. Like, once he gets the paintings off, they're okay, but he doesn't have any kiting abilities aside from the paintings. The paintings are counterable too. Like, I've played, if you're playing Clerk or Bonbon, you can just moonwalk into the paintings and still land basic attacks on him. and then turn your camera to reset your autos. So the paintings can actually work against you if you're not careful with them. And a lot of hunters have a lot of ways to deal with them. Like any hunter that can moonwalk with their abilities, Geisha, Bonbon, Clerk, Bloody Queen, they'll just avoid the mirror, avoid the painting completely. And you only get 2 of them. So I feel like he doesn't really have super fast vaulting speed or like any decoding speed or anything like that in particular. But you know, he's not like the worst survivor, I don't think. He's just not that great either. I might put him slightly above Gardener because like you eventually do have to deal with the paintings if they put him at like the entrance of a door or something. But Painter's C tier, yeah, he just needs like a little bit more compared to the rest of these guys. Patient, I think he's S tier. Patient's actually pretty strong. Like, sorry, just taking a sip of water. Patient, yeah, probably S tier. It gets him, the grappling hook is just stupidly strong. It gets you into 2nd floors in a lot of buildings. Tysonia, so if you're able to like jump into the top floor, you can jump through the little holes in the hospital. You can jump through, even to the 2nd floor of hospital if you wanted to. You can jump up into a lot of different areas, like what is it, the 2nd floor on Ever Sleeping, there's a 2nd floor in Chinatown, there's a 2nd floor on a lot of different maps. And even if there isn't a 2nd floor, it gets you through the windows really quickly without having to waste time vaulting. He's able to jump, do the latch on the thing with Psychologist, so he's got like a weird hidden synergy there. I mean, that's not as important, but just the grappling hook itself buys you so much extra time. Yeah, there's enough said about Patient. He's just a very, very good survivor for kiting. In terms of like rescuing and other things, it's not that important when you can kite really well. A lot of teams will just run 4 kiters because then you have a bad choice of chasing any first person. Like if you run like 2 kiters and then 2 supporters that can also kite really well, like for example a Priestess or like an acrobat or an entomologist, they're all sort of like the kiters plus supporters. So this just becomes impossible to catch a lot of these survivors. Perfumer, A tier. It's not necessarily that like Perfumer is really good at kiting the hunter. Well, not that, like she is. If she drops down from the 2nd floor of any building, you keep the perfume there. It extends your kite by a lot. Plus she can perfume damage, and like most abilities she can perfume out, which is really, really strong. The only reason why she's not S tier is because when you hit the Perfumer, it gives the hunter a little bit of presence, and also if you have damage on you already, the perfume kind of becomes useless. But she's got pretty decent vaulting speed, pretty decent decoding speed. I think her only downside is her healing speed. It's not that big of a deal, like 20% or 10% compared to the like 3 other survivors who are doing things around you. It's not that much time. And plus the perfume ability is so strong too. Being able to block a full point of damage. You can even use it while you have Tide Turner active. If you were going to go down from Tide and you had a perfume set up beforehand, you can prevent yourself from going down. And I think that's incredibly powerful. Postman, I'm going to put him in A tier too. He's got the letters. The letters are really, really good. I don't think there's any bad letter. Like the decoding one on its own is really strong. The rescue one is kind of like whatever, but it does help. And the kiting one is really strong too. Plus, he's got his dog to kite with. Like, he's a kiter who can also support. Yeah, he's one of those that I was talking about earlier that is really good at just synergy overall with the team. There's not a lot of downsides to Postman. And if you try to chase him first, he does have ways to protect himself with. So there's that. Priestess, S tier, enough said. OP, banned, get her out of my game. Prisoner. I would say Prisoner is like B tier. I think Prisoner is really good. He does have fast vaulting speed and pallet dropping speed, and at least he doesn't have the debuff for it. His decoding speed is like average, but he can do a lot of wonky stuff with the his linking two ciphers together. I feel like it's actually a really decent ability. Plus with his shock, he can extend his kite for like just a little bit longer, and it's rechargeable, so he can get it back. I think Prisoner is like not that difficult to deal with, but then again, even if you deal with him, you have to deal with his cipher linking abilities. Yeah, like I feel like if you're a decoder, you need something that can, at the very least, he's one of the better decoders out there. Like, you know what, I might put him like above Kurt, like probably right here. He's one of the better decoders out there, but still, if you're gonna pick a decoder, you might as well pick Mechanic, since she's that broken. You'd have to get really unlucky with Mechanic. Like, you have to have your doll found out, plus you found out right off the bat for Mechanic not to work in a Cypher Rush scenario. Professor, like lower tier B, he can do the his scales thing is okay. Like, it's not great. It's very easily baited out, especially in like close situations. If you just swing your camera like 180 degrees and just miss him on purpose, he can reactivate it within 6 seconds, but most of the time when he does it, he's in an open space. So a lot of the times, like, you just kind of have to bait it out, and once you bait it out, it's kind of over with. He can support his allies with the scales, but there's only 3 of them on the map, and once they pick them up, like, they can only use it one time. So yeah, Elena, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Anyways, the professor, like, I think there needs to be more to him. Like, he doesn't have a lot of really strong I guess, like, the shielding is a pretty decent mechanic. Like, he's not bad. He's definitely not bad for sure. I put him like upper B tier. As a kiter, he's decent. It's just once he uses his scales up, he's very vulnerable. Like, he's got nothing left. It's not that he uses them up though. Like, once he uses it and the hunter knows it's on cooldown, they're just gonna chase him. His chip damage protection only works once a game, so yeah, I guess you get to save yourself a little bit. I only put him a little bit higher because if he does happen to block an attack, it's a very long stun. It can definitely extend your kite for a while, and also it doesn't grant the hunter any presence, which is kind of a plus. Prospector, A tier. He's kind of one of the most annoying harassers in the game. I see him picked up a lot. I didn't know about his like metal ability. If he runs like towards a metal object, he gets a small speed boost, but it saved him a lot in a lot of games. And he's got 3 magnets and they charge really, really quickly. Like, as a harasser, I would say he's very decent. Sometimes they mess up if the hunters know what they're doing. Like, they can flash past it to guarantee a hit or like a double hit. But yeah, as a hunter, it's really hard to make those scenarios happen if the prospector is playing properly. Like, the top tier prospector that I know of his name is Rada, and he's very annoying to deal with. But I don't think he's at the level of S tier compared to just these ones, where it's like you don't have to do that well for you to still have an impact on the game, or it's so easy for you to do well that it doesn't matter. For example, like a prospector trying to harass you with his 3 magnets is nothing compared to a patient jumping up to a 2nd floor in Chinatown and completely freeing himself with his kite. Like, you've won already at that point. You know what? For that reason, like acrobat, I'd probably move down to A tier. Yeah, I don't think acrobat's like he's hard to deal with, but like he's not like super. No way! Did I just reset? No, okay, there we go. Oh. What do you know about the new character to make her an S tier? I faced her a couple of times. I'm just basing it off of her statistics. From what I've seen about her. I've seen her in quick match a couple of times, and I believe she has the potential to be OP. I think, see, I had this feeling about Professor too when he was first released. Like, just based on these numbers alone, his abilities are way too quick and they're way too strong. And I'm getting the same vibe about Antiquarian. I firmly believe she's probably gonna get nerfed soon. I haven't seen how some of the specific interactions are going to work on her, but I just firmly believe that she's a little overtuned. just reading the cooldowns and stuff on her abilities. Psychologist, like A minus tier. She can take 3 hits. Plus she's got Wi-Fi healing. It's pretty strong. Like the healing is really strong on characters like Mercenary or Enchantress, who can get in the second rescue and she can just keep decoding the whole time. We'll put it like here. Plus she's got a weird synergy with Patient. It's really nice. And yeah, just being able to take 3 hits in and of itself is really good. Because you can take those 2 hits and not go, like, by the time most hunters are able to land 2 hits on the survivors that's just kiting normally without abilities, it's probably going to be about 40 to 60 seconds. And having to land a 3rd hit, like most, I don't know about other hunters, but when I hunt a Psychologist, I prefer to wait for her like extra health to tick down to 0. If you leave like even 0.1% of it and she gets herself back up or she gets rescued by someone without tide, she's going to be able to take an extra hit. Like, it's a free heal. So yeah, she can disarm hunters, and disarming Bloody Queen breaks her mirror, which is funny. Yeah, like the disarm, and if like even if it was just hitting, if it was like a 1-second stun, that's pretty strong. But it also disarms them for like 5 or 6 seconds. I've seen videos of her knocking hunters against the wall, and then she just takes a free Wi-Fi heal in front of the hunter, and the hunter cannot do anything about it. It's very, very broken. So annoying. I wish I could ban 4 survivors. I know, right? I'd sell for 3. There's so many S tier survivors, and there's like 2 S tier hunters on my list. Seer, S tier. Hard S tier. Seer is hard to deal with. Yeah, he's got the owl. It's a hard counter to a lot of hunters' abilities. Anything, and he can do it from across the map too. Like, a lot of people ban Seer. There's like no contest about Seer being the best, one of the best survivors in the game. I typically don't ban him as much because some of the Seers are really funny when they mess up. But yeah, I would highly suggest banning Seer if you're a hunter and you need a ban. The owl just extends kites by so long by blocking a full attack or ability. So yeah, he can get more of them too, which is crazy. Some of these survivors, once you use their ability, it's done. But rechargeable abilities like the Seer Owl, if he just kites like certain hunters, if he kites Breaking Wheel, he gets the owls back really, really quickly. And if he just tries to play support, even getting that second owl, a second owl will win you the game in a lot of cases. It blocks full-on detention hits. So even if you're not using it for your early game, you could still save it for late game, and it's still very, very strong. Or change Psych with a forward and batter. I don't really ban Psychologist though. Like, Psychologist does need 3 hits to go down, but I feel like she's not as hard to chase as some of the other survivors. Like, if she's a really good first chase target, even though she's harder to down, because like at the very least you'll get your presence up. Let's see who's left. We've got only a few left. Thief, C tier. He's kind of annoying. He's actually really annoying to deal with. Got some of the dumbest emotes in the game, but again, a lot of hunters that can moonwalk onto his flashlight, he has to moonwalk on you while you're moonwalking onto him, and if he backs into a tree while you're moonwalking on him, he's a little bit doomed. He can put the flashlight down to support and harass people, but the stun is actually not that long. Locking down the abilities is kind of annoying, but if you just play a little bit at a further range and you're able to snipe him out, or like block off some of his paths of escape, he's kind of done. And also, if he eats any chip damage at all, like a bomb or something that's already been pre-placed, he's either going to eat that chip damage or he's going to eat a basic attack. And there's not a lot he can do about those. Wait, why is Weeping Clown all the way at C? I just don't think Weeping Clown is like that great. Like, I think Weeping Clown has his place, but maybe I'll put him like B minus. It's like, this is like B minus C plus tier. Like, maybe. I just think that like Weeping Clown is, his rocket ability is okay, but there's just better options. I've never been stunned by this to the point where I had to drop a survivor. it's never got, it's probably just my bias because of the type of hunters I play. Like I play Breaking Wheel, which like the rockets don't really do anything. Was it Clerk? The Clerk, if you take Clerk with Berserker, like you can probably get a second hit on him. Most of the time, if you play Clerk with Berserker, you get a second basic attack on people before they're able to rescue. Like, I don't think Clown is that... Like, other people just do his job better as a support character or a kiter. Like, the Rocket needs to be really utilized well, and I feel like it just has too many counters at this point. So if I'm classifying survivors, basically, if you're going to play if I'm going to grade you on your support type abilities, it needs to be a support ability that can be used regardless of the situation that you're in. Like Entomologist bees, it's useful in every situation. But for Weeping Clown, you have to like get the rescue off, you have to pick up that other survivor, and you have to outrun the hunter in a lot of cases. Whereas bees, you just like push the hunter out of the way. Or if you're a Seer owl, you just block one hit, any one hit. So he's not terrible, but he's not like great either. He's upper C. Toy Merchant, okay, she's getting a probably. I think like Toy Merchant has a lot of crazy lineups with the catapult. Honestly top A. Her catapults, if you know the lineups for them and like you're able to launch people into hospital, or you're able to like launch people on the second floors of buildings, she's patient, but as a support unit. She opens up boxes really quickly. She doesn't really have any downsides to her. Plus the glider the glider. Oof. It's so strong. It's able to get you like you can get a lot of really good rescues with it, or you can use it to kite from second floor of buildings, or you can just use it in comparison with your catapult. Like, it's not just one catapult too. She has 2 catapults, and the glider is permanent. So yeah, she's definitely going to be A tier, if not higher. Wildling, it's hard to say where Wildling is. I would put him like A tier, probably still, yeah. He's not S tier, just because he's so bad at everything else. Like, the boar is so strong. It's the trump card of all survivor abilities, like the special ones. It can eat 2 hits, but if you're charging someone, like, it gets Hunter's presence really quickly. His one thing is like harassing the Hunter and trying to do the charge. But even if you charge a Hunter, it's not always guaranteed for them to drop the survivor. And plus, if they're not dropping them, you're getting smacked for at least half of your boar. That's a little bit of presence for the Hunter, and you don't really buy a lot of time for the survivor that you save to get away, unless you can eat like 3 hits. So Wildling is pretty decent at, like, you're never gonna catch a Wildling though. The boar is faster than the Hunter in a lot of cases. It doesn't have a lot of counters to it. Like, you can bomb out a boar, you can try, but it's fast. Like, it's just so fast, incredibly hard to deal with. And I think that's it. Yeah, if you guys got any questions about this, I'll be happy to share the rest of my thoughts about these some other time on stream. But yeah, here is my survivor tier list.